All right, first I want to thank y'all. Appreciate y'all covering us, telling these guys' story. They're no different than you, right? You work really hard on a daily basis, show up, and do your job at a high level, take a lot of pride in your job, and they're no different than you. They show up on a daily basis, work really hard at their job to give you a product that you can be proud of, and cover. So we appreciate you help telling these guys' stories. We're really excited to be here at Florida, and we're going to work really hard to give you a product to be proud of. Secondly, I want to say how proud of a staff we are of this team and their efforts so far. Throughout the first two phases of foundation and identity, there's been tremendous buy-in at the player level. They've showed up one day at a time, worked really hard, given great effort, showed up with great self-discipline, and I think we've improved one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and now it's been about a few months in, really 2 months of work to show for it. Now we step into phase 3, spring ball. You know, I miss football. I'm sure y'all miss football. I realized today how much we missed football, getting to see them fly around and compete and play the game we love. So just excited to show up again in a couple days. We get to get swole tomorrow, so we got a little lift going on tomorrow, and then back to the grind and practice on Thursday. Anybody got any questions?
All right, we're going to start with questions. We'll start with Edgar.
Yeah, Coach. How do you structure things with the training? Do you split up into position groups? Do you have like a guy working with each position group? Because each position group has special needs.
Sure, that's a great question. So first I'd say this, I like to keep it simple. As far as training philosophy is concerned, our job is to make the training more difficult than the competition. I think Michael Jordan said that, right? I want to practice so hard that the game's easy. So I feel like that's our job as a staff, whether it be in the weight room, whether it be on-field training, whether it be practice. I'm talking about the year-round approach as far as training is concerned, right? So that's the philosophy in one sentence. Beyond that, we don't see a weight room, right? We see a football field. We're going to train them to be the best at their position. How do we do that? We hire position coaches within the weight room. All of our strength coaches have played the position, right? Tiger Jones works with the offensive skill guys. He played receiver at Louisville, 9 years in the NFL, right? Alice Watkins played linebacker in the SEC, right? Played in the NFL briefly, right? He works with the inside, outside linebackers, right? Defensive skill positions. Ed Thompson, he works with the defensive skill guys. He played cornerback on the college level at UL, the place we just came from, right? And then last but not least, Carmichael Dunbar, premium on trenches, right? The games won in the trenches. I offend the athletes all the time, all right? But big people beat up little people. The games won in the trenches. They do the dirty work, right? So these skill guys can get their name in y'all's articles, right? They probably need a little more glory, to be quite honest, right? And so Carmichael Dunbar works with the D-line, O-line. He played D-line at UL as well. So that goes into the vision as far as training them to play their position. Those position coaches in the weight room work hand in hand, right, with the position coaches that have them in season. That's where college is different, right? You're just with the strength staff for 4 months out the year, right? You're not with your position coach. So it's really important to have synergy between your position strength coaches and your position on-field coaches. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Have you gotten any feedback from players on things that maybe is different for them in this strength and conditioning program versus what they were in before?
I think that'd be a better question for them. I think the biggest thing is we've just been consumed with the process, not really worried about the results, just showing up one day at a time. All right, this is the plan. We're going to work that plan and get better at it one day at a time.
What's Billy like to work for?
Billy's great to work for. He's the reason I'm here, right? You'd be hard-pressed to find. You always want a great coach, right? He's the CEO, so everything kind of trickles down from him. He sets the standard throughout the entire organization. But beyond that, not just a great coach, a great human being, a great man, someone you can look up to as a father and as a husband, which is important to me, right? Because I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I consider him a mentor, right? So you want to have someone in that CEO role that you can look up to in all those areas, and I'm not sure there's a better one in the country. That's my opinion.
When you talk to coordinators, they talk about keeping terminology the same, play calls and all that sort of stuff. For the strength staff, how do you try to keep things the same or change things from what the last strength staff did with them?
Yeah, so I think every leader's going to have their own vision and their own blueprint. Right now, the weight room's the weight room, right? So there's going to be some similarities, but there's going to be some variables too. And I think we're going to install our blueprint, and that's what we're really working hard on right now, one day at a time. We have a blueprint and a vision, what we did for foundation, right? What we did for identity. We have a new in-season plan for spring ball, and then when we get back for the summer, we'll have a new plan for regimen, and it's going to look a little bit different at all times.
Mark, is there any one or two players that maybe stood out from their weight, from their strength gains just in the 2 months you've had? Are there any one or two, or even maybe a position group that has just stood out with their gains?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is I wouldn't single anyone out at this point. I think just overall as a team, I've been impressed and happy with the buy-in. And I say happy loosely because we're far from satisfied. There's a lot of work left to be done, obviously.
You and Coach have talked about the players buying in, but is there some onus on you guys to show them, hey, we care, we're here, and does that go both ways?
I hope they feel that. I've told the players this, the recruits that have come on official visits this. We prayed for this opportunity. We've worked really hard for this opportunity and waited patiently for this opportunity, okay? And it's here, and it's time to seize the moment. So I hope that they feel that intensity, that urgency, that passion, that excitement to show up and do your job at a high level on a daily basis.
How do you create accountability?
Sure, that's the greatest thing. So we met with each player individually before we got to work. We thought that would be good to create some rapport, and that was the biggest thing. As a leader, you have a vision and a plan and how to improve everybody, right? But I want to find out from you, what do you think we need to improve upon, right? And the constant thing or one of the best things that kind of kept coming up was we need to make the small things important, right? And that's accountability, right? That's another way of saying holding people accountable. So we put a premium on that, making the small things important, right? You might think from a weight room standpoint, how you do a clean or a power clean or a back squat's really important. No, we want to know, are you tucked in? Do you have your jewelry? Are you fit? Are you in your dress code for the day? Are you early? Are you on time, right? Do you work throughout the entire 60-minute period? So those are the details, right? All of these guys, they wouldn't play at Florida, right, if they weren't blessed with a tremendous amount of ability. We've got to get consumed with the intangibles, right? Integrity, discipline, toughness, effort, playing together, right? And then obviously becoming believers. Believe you can do it at a high level and compete with anybody.
Mark, I already alluded to this once, but just how excited are you to be back at this level again? At
Yes.
SEC and,
Yes.
At a championship level program?
This is what you work for. This is my 4th time in the SEC. There's no better conference. If you want to be the best at what you do, I think everybody's goal in here would to be the best at what you do. You're going to show up and work really hard and compete at a really high level. This is the best football in the conference. I've felt like that anywhere I've ever been, and I've been at a few different conferences, right? And if you want to be the best, you got to compete with the best, right? You got to be able to recruit the best. You got to be able to develop them year-round, have a plan for them, not just 1 week at a time, not just as them showing up, but for the 3 to 5 years that you have them, and develop them mentally and physically. Teach them how to be men. Teach them how to be leaders.
Speaking of your plan for guys, getting a guy like Desmond Watson, obviously a lot of ability. He's still kind of working on his weight. What's kind of the goal there, and how do you want to see him make progress?
Yeah, much of the same with the other guys. Just show up one day at a time, get a little bit better. He's done a good job of buying in, and he's working really hard. Like you said, physical specimen, beast, right? And he's very talented and nimble for being as big and physical and powerful as he is, right? But we're going to continue to work. Desmond's going to continue to work really hard. He's doing a great job with Kelsey Gomes, our nutritionist. She's a rock star. She's got a rock star studded staff, and they have a great plan in place for him one day at a time.
What did you learn at those previous stops, that whether it be structure, the way you approach things, the way you keep up with sports science, was there things that you took from those previous SEC stops?
Yeah, every day is obviously an opportunity to learn. That's no different for anybody in here, right? But just every place you've been, you're exposed to different thoughts, different ideas, right? You get to see a different way of training, different way to practice, all right? Different way to compete, different way to do drills, You might be exposed to different things. And along the way, you try and pick the best things from every place you've been and put it in, to be part of your blueprint, part of your vision. And that's why I'm excited to be here with Coach Napier and the staff here, because I feel like our visions are aligned. Sometimes you have coaches from different backgrounds. We were kind of cut from the same cloth, so it makes sense.